Andersen, the high-profile opt-out, the most high-profile opt-out so far we know to be David Price, Nick Markakis as of today. Who else would you have in that group that you would consider players that their teams are going to definitely feel an impact for not having them on the squad?
Yeah, I mean the Nationals are the first one that comes up. They Wellington Castillo, their catcher, opted out, and then Joe Ross, the pitcher, opted out as well, and then Ryan Zimmerman, the first baseman. He was the biggest one from that team. He cited, I think it was his family, just he wanted to be with his family and stay safe, so he didn't catch the virus and bring it to them. But those are three players, and I think, like you guys have been talking about, quantity is going to matter a lot. And if you have players with major league experience on your roster, that's really important. So losing those three guys, whether they vary in talent level, but just losing three players is going to hurt no matter what their skill level is. The more players you lose, the more you're going to take a hit this year. And so even though those three players, Ryan Zimmerman's a great baseball player, but those three players aren't your huge stars. They're still, there's three of them opting out. That's going to hurt the Nationals.
Right. Now, Zimmerman, especially more impactful this season with the loss of Rendon, in my opinion, because I feel once you take Rendon out of that lineup, it's not replaceable. And, to not have Zimmerman also to at least try to pick up a little bit of that slack is going to be a further loss of offense for the Nationals.
Well, how about high-profile positive tests? Because I know Freddie Freeman of the Braves tested positive.
Yeah, Freddie Freeman, Charlie Blackmon from Colorado, Miguel Sano from Minnesota. Trying to think of
LeMahieu.
DJ LeMahieu, yep. Tommy Pham.
Yeah, those are high-profile guys. I mean, man.
It's all over the place, but there's, it's going to happen. And I think something that people are thinking about, I don't know, just in terms of mentally thinking of this, and people weren't preparing for those huge high-profile players to test positive. Just, I don't really know why, but the big talk was like, what if these guys, your bullpen or something, tests positive? But
right.
You have to prepare as well for Mike Trout, Mookie Betts, guys like that to test positive. And I don't know, they're not. People don't think they're immune, but I think they've been overlooked. You have to keep in mind that losing one of those guys could happen, and your team will take a big hit.
Right. And so we just talked about the opt-outs, and then we separately talked about the positive test. I think what people are not considering in terms of worst-case scenario is when those things stack up on each other. When the Nationals had three guys opted out, well, what happens when 3-4 guys test positive? And those are major league guys. Now you're wiped out at that point.
Right, because all 9 of the players who've opted out so far haven't tested positive. They're all just concerned about their safety. But you have right now 31 players who've tested positive, with I think roughly 6 or 7 of them being symptomatic, and then a bunch who haven't announced whether they're symptomatic or asymptomatic. If those players, not yet, obviously, because it sounds like there's roughly a 2-week recovery time if they quarantine the right way and treat their body the right way. But within a week or two, we've got less than 3 weeks until baseball season, almost 2 weeks now. So, within the next week or two, if players catch it, they're probably going to have to look at opting out, and then their teammates too. I know today it was Nick Markakis who opted out, and he cited Freddie Freeman's illness, and just being on that roster with guys around you, like we've been saying this whole time here, sometimes opting out is just going to be the safe and right decision, and so it's gonna take a hit on those teams.
Danny, anything?
I'm just thinking that's going to happen more and more. As you get the positive test, you're going to get more guys opting out. Markakis just said it because of Freeman and teammates testing positive. So I think that's just going to happen more and more. So the more positive tests you get, the more people opting out. So, and they also, I just heard it today. They did like a special, it's not necessarily the IL, it's like a special injury list for people that test positive. I don't know if that has a different set of days they have to be out and things like that. I didn't read into it.
Yeah, I think it's for players who they tested positive or they are concerned that they could have tested positive, or even if they have teammates who tested positive. And I don't believe there's a set number of days. I think it's pretty loose and free with obviously take the time off when you're sick and then get back on the field when you truly think you're ready. So I think for the player safety, all around the board, they haven't set a day, a number of days that they have to be out yet. But
Okay,
I was
so
glad to see they added that injured list to the protocol.
all right. So last question before we talk some football. I just wanted to be clear about what you just said and what we kind of just spoke about. The time on the COVID injured list is not necessarily 2 weeks. It could be 3 weeks. It could be 4 weeks. It's pretty much a flexible time period, which means that in a 2-month season, somebody can get hurt, or somebody can test positive and be gone for half of it just like that. All right. All right. Watching on Facebook, leave a comment on YouTube. Of course, thanks for subscribing. Make sure that you comment, like, and share. Follow us on Twitter and on Instagram at Council Talk. Follow Andersen at Andersen Pickard on Twitter.